Right then, so moving on in our painting unit of work, today we are going to look at blending colours together. All right, so we're going to look at a painting by Picasso, all right, which is the painting that was at the start of the video. And I've just printed a section of the face off there. As you can see, we talked about how it's quite thick paint, quite basic shapes, quite graphic. Everything's quite chunky. We've got geometric shapes in there. And more importantly, what we talked about with Cubism is that we have both the profile of the face and the face from the front. So we've got those two different angles. So in my sketchbook, what I've done is I've copied the shapes from the face, but I've chosen a cold colour palette. So I've used blues and greys, all right, and I've blended my colours from light to dark, because part of your art curriculum criteria is that you know how to mix and match colours and create atmosphere and light effects. Okay, so we're going to have the direction of light coming in from the right hand side. So I've just drawn a little arrow, look, and written that on my sketchbook. Okay, can we blend colours? All right, and I've used greys and blues to make my face look actually quite sad, but you could use reds, oranges and yellows. You could use purples and pinks. You could use light and dark green. All right, so I will demonstrate a few different colourways, but I'm just going to show you a couple of times how to blend the colours together, and then I'm going to let you get cracking again. And again, I can't wait for you to photograph some of your work and send it to me. So the first thing we need to do is draw out the shapes of the face. So this is actually, it's quite a simple kind of design, and in all honesty, if you want to improvise a little bit, we don't need to put in those crisscross patterns unless you want to. So I started with the shape of the nose, coming round here to the shape of the lips, right, so putting that lip shape in. Again, quite pointy, quite triangular in terms of shape. And then we've got the eye up here, which is again is sort of profile sort of way around, so it's a little bit odd looking. Again, we've got one clearly different shape to the other one anyway, so don't actually worry too much about your drawing in this exercise. We're more interested in how accurately you can paint and whether or not you can blend colours together. So we've got a big triangle shape there. We've got a big triangle shape that makes the nostril up, and then another one which is a bit more rhombus shaped with the nostrils going in there. Okay, I'm not going to worry too much about all the lines at the moment. I'm just going to get the main shapes in. So that's one eye. And like I said, you can either follow this video and sort of copy what I'm drawing and stop and start it, or some of you will be confident enough just to actually get cracking and just do your own version. If you want to work from a completely different cubist portrait, you can do, but I thought this one was quite nice because it has lots of shapes and we can really focus on the face. Woman with hat, weeping woman, the lady with the hat on, is maybe a little bit complicated because you've got that white area of the triangle, and some of them are a little bit too simple because at the same time we still want lots of different shapes to paint in. Okay, so we've got her ear there, which is quite an odd shape altogether. Let's just pop that in. And then we've got these really quite obvious stripes of hair coming down, which come down to sort of under her chin. Let's pop her chin in. There we go. So quite obviously inspired by an African mask as well. We talked about that if you remember. Okay, so we've got the basic shape of the face. Right, let's go over to our paint. So let's do the blues first, like I've done. All right, and then I would do a few other colourways. So again, we're using the tempera block paints, and we're going to do blue shades. So let's start off with sort of blue to light blue. So I'm going to mix up some blue. So let's use that nice bright turquoisey colour that we had before, and we're going to blend that round with a paintbrush. So remember, round in circles, keeping those bristles nice and pointy, getting those little bubbles on the surface of the paint. And then I'm going to take some of that over to the white because I want a much lighter shade of blue. So the important thing about blending colours together is you need to have both colours that you want to blend together mixed up ready. And the white paint's rattling, there we go. So let's get lots of white mixed into that blue so you can see it's much lighter. I've got those little bubbles appearing on the surface, and it's nice and thick like double cream, like we said. All right, so my direction of light is going to be coming from the right, which means every shape I paint needs to be light on this side, going to slightly darker as we go over to the left. Okay, so we're trying to create atmosphere and the effect of a light shining on this face. So let's start with some white on the blue on the white rather. Let's mix that up. Okay, so I'm going to start with this little kind of triangle shape here by the nose. So I'm going to put some of this light blue onto my painting. Remember, not too much water, we don't want a puddle. So I'm going to paint half of it. And it's important you do this quite quickly because you want both colours that you blend together to be wet. So quickly, rinse brush, dab the brush off. Okay, get a bit of the dark blue on my brush, bring that back over, and I'm going to paint the second half of that shape in like that. Now at the moment that isn't blended, that is stopping and starting. So again, wash the brush, dab the excess water off, but you do want a damp brush. And what I'm going to do really carefully now is I'm just going to, with a clean damp brush, is I'm just going to blend those two colours in together. So I'm just running my paintbrush over the edge. Okay, and you can see I've gone light to dark. So let's do another one. Right, let's go maybe even lighter this time. So let's do that again, somewhere else on the page. So let's try this big area of the nose here. So again, we put the light colour down first. So again, we're working light to dark from the right. There we go. Get some of the darker blue on my paintbrush. Painting, again, trying to keep it in the lines. Obviously we want to show that we can paint and we are quite neat. We've done that already. Okay, so again, rinse my brush off, dab the excess water off onto my paper towel, bring my paintbrush back over, and then with a slightly damp brush, just work into where those two colours meet, and that will blend your two colours together. Okay, like that. So we can do that with any colour. So let's try and do that maybe now. Should we go red? Let's go red to orange. So let's get a little bit of red mixed up and get that on our yellow. Get a nice thick orange colour going. So let's go around lots and lots of times. So the orange is lighter than the red. Okay, so there's my orange. So let's try a section. So if you guys wanted to do kind of a warm colour palette with oranges and yellows and reds, like fire colours, you could do that. So remember, you're only painting one colour palette. I don't want to see a painting with blues, greens and oranges and reds and everything on there. All right, I'm just demonstrating the different colourways on the same picture for you. So let's get some orange then. So let's try again. So let's do this section of the eyelid. All right, so again, we do our orange, our lighter colour. Nice thick paint look. Holding my paintbrush like I do my pencil. Resting my hand on the page so I've got full control of my paintbrush. There we go. So rinse the brush. Dab off the excess water. Let's get some red. Again, not too watery, remember. Both colours mixed up. Let's get our red. Let's go back to our painting. So we're going to apply the red paint from the left because it's our darker colour, and we're going to meet in the middle. And then again, I'm rinsing my brush, wiping off the excess water, dab it dry so it's damp, onto a paper towel, back to my painting, and then very carefully with that damp paintbrush I am blending in those two colours, being careful not to add a puddle of water in the process. So we could go orange to red. You could do greens. Okay, let's do some green. So let's just clean the yellows. Remember, these paint, we mix the colours on the paints. All right, so if we need to wipe them, it's just a paper towel and a bit of water. Okay, let's just clean the yellow. There we go. Let's go with the blue then. So blue onto our yellow. Let's get a nice green. So we could actually go greens to blues, actually kind of like sea colours. That would look quite nice. Let's do that. Let's get some green. So here's our green. Let's do another section. Let's do this bit of the cheek, look. So again, doesn't matter what two colours you use, as long as the lighter colour is coming in from the right. And by using one colour palette, that's where you're trying to create your atmosphere, which is what your art sort of curriculum has asked you to do. So we're creating a bit of mood. So with all the blues, we've got quite a sad, gloomy sort of face. I'm pretty sure with the hot colours, the reds and the yellows, maybe looks a little bit warmer, a little bit happier. If we go with greens, maybe your face is looking a bit jealous. You know that phrase, green with envy. Okay, so we've done a bit of green. So let's get a little bit of the turquoise. We could go greens to blues. You might want to do it all in black and white, actually. You could do it in lots of different shades of grey if you wanted. So again, we're going blue. Now you can see actually the colour change here is quite a little bit more dramatic. So we have literally got two different colours, not just two different shades. So we've got blue and green. At the moment, that's our stop and starting, which we don't want. Clean the brush, dab off the excess water. Back over here, again while our paint's still damp. And then let's just get that damp brush and just blend and blur that line in. There we go. Blending those two colours together, and there we have it. So I'm hoping you guys can match colours to create atmosphere and light effects, doing your own cubist face.